Hey guys, Kevin Swaney here, Tin Indian Performance. Today we're going to install some cam bearings in this MR-1A aluminum block here. So normally I like to get all the plugs installed before I hang the block so it's easier to work on. It's laying, where you can get at it instead of crouched down on the ground. However, in this situation we want to put in this back cam bearing first, so that then we can then put the cam plug in and then we can hang the block. So I've already done that. My next step here is to get this block hung on a stand, and I'll show you how to shoot the rest of these cam bearings in here. All right guys, we got this block hung here. Got a little ahead of myself. Almost forgot to show you this. So again, we are working on a MR-1A. So for the do-it-yourselfer, you will need a special tool, cam bearing installation tool. It comes with this tip. So I'm going to show you this here. I use this typically. We made this in-house to knock old cam bearings out. They come out pretty hard, so it's better if you use a solid piece of aluminum instead of beating up your cam install tool. You can do it. It's a little hard on the tool. If you notice here, that cam bearing has a chamfer. That's the side that you want going into the hole when you go to tap these things in. The other important thing that you want to note is that, I'm not sure if you can pick this up. Okay, so in that hole there's no cam bearing, but we did do these back three. You can barely see that hole right in the center there. We like to get them centered up right in the cam tunnel. So that cam bearing is installed. This one's installed. That one's hard to see. I'm going to take a minute here and grab a pen light. All right, guys, we got this a little bit better here. You can see that cam bearing is installed. And there's that hole there. So again, guys, very important that you get those holes lined up. The hole that we are looking at is right here in the cam bearing. So like I said before, chamfer goes in this way. In that hole, you want to get lined up with the oil hole in the block. So I'm going to set this up real quick, just to show you what it looks like. Again, it's good to get that rear cam bearing in first before you put the cam plug in, because this end protrudes and you'll knock that out or damage it, one of the two. So yeah, we'll get this set up in here and I'll show you how this process goes. All right, guys, now I got the tool in here. So again, pre-line up your hole to the hole in the block, chamfer side into the block. Typically what I do, I put the cam bearing on the tool, then I slide the rod in and screw it in. This cone helps align everything so that you're knocking it in as straight as can be. The one challenge is when you're on this last cam bearing, obviously there's nothing, so you got to make sure you're kind of parallel so that you knock that thing in straight. So all right, guys, so we're going to knock this one in and line up those oil holes. All right, guys, stopped a little short here. I just wanted to show you. while I can see my oil hole through the block, you'll notice the bearing can stand to go in a little bit more. We're a little out on this side, and we've got, probably a 1/4 inch there to go. So again, guys, when you're doing this, you want the oil hole lined up. And typically, if you center it, you're going to be pretty centered down here. But just make sure that the bearing is also centered in the saddle as well. All right, we're going to knock this thing the rest of the way in. Okay, guys, so finally got her in there the rest of the way. Yeah, you can see we're pretty centered up in our hole. And we're fairly centered up in the saddle. All right, so that's about it, guys. I'm gonna knock this last bearing in, and that's gonna wrap it up. The last step here that you wanna do, guys, and we'll do it here shortly, we're gonna throw the camshaft in here and make sure it spins freely. Now, I do want to throw a little disclaimer in here. I would definitely not do this on a stock block. If I'm doing a stock block, I'm going to put in cam bearings one at a time and then put my camshaft in and try to twist the cam. Very frequently, these journals on a stock block are a little bit off. And while I can probably put cam bearings in an MR1 block in 20 minutes, I have fought cam bearings in stock blocks for hours because the tunnels aren't really true, and you have to do quite a bit of work and massaging of the bearings to get the cam to spin freely, anywhere near freely. You'll see when I pop the cam in here, you can turn this camshaft with your fingers. And these are just Babbitt bearings. They're not anything special, no roller bearing or anything. So I'll pop this last bearing in, and then we'll throw the camshaft in. All right, guys, before we slide this cam in here, I like to squirt some oil down in these holes. And as you can see, if you have your holes lined up, you will get oil on that bearing before you slide that camshaft in. So that's next. We're going to wipe that oil around in that bearing and then show you how this camshaft will turn. All right, guys, we got the cam stuffed in there, as you can see. So yeah, and this is how easy your cam should turn if you've done this properly. If by chance, guys, you have any that are tight, you can go in here with some Scotch-Brite around and around to loosen up that clearance a little bit. And again, on a stock block, I wouldn't even think about doing it this way. Probably start at the back. Put the back two in so you can get the camshaft to be suspended and see if you can turn the cam. A lot of times what will happen is when you rotate it, it'll scuff the bearing, and that'll be the high side that you need to sand down. So again, just take your time, fellas. Just like anything when you're building a motor, take your time. Time is your friend. Be patient, and you should get some good results. But that'll do it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.